So, in a previous video, I demonstrated how to do math on a hand-driven mechanical calculator, and I figured in this video I'll demonstrate how to do it on a electrically driven mechanical calculator. So this is the Monroe Model KA, which was released in 1921, I believe, and this is the successor to the hand-driven one that I showed in my previous video. They made two versions of the Monroe Model K. They had a hand-driven one, and they had this, which is the Model KA, which is a electrically driven one. You can see the nice large electrical motor back here. They also had another model, I believe, as well, which had an automatic multiplier on it, but I don't have that one, so I'll show you this one. So you can see there's a switch back here on the motor. We turn that on, and then we can use it for math. So it's kind of hard to see the dials up at the top. Let me see if I can adjust that a little bit. Okay, now it'll be a bit easier to see. So just like the other one, you enter your numbers on the keyboard. So you want to do some addition. So we enter our number here, 24, and then we press plus. As you can see, 24 now appears up here in the accumulator register, and the keyboard clears itself. So you can continue. So you can see it's much faster than the hand-driven way. It also does subtraction. And this one has these little decimal point indicators on the keyboard. So if you were adding up a list of numbers with decimals in them, you would set this to where your decimal point would be. Say you wanted like 45.63, or 66 rather. So you're going to have 45, and this is your decimal point, 66. Looks like keyboard clear. See, it latches down all the zeros. So you would set this for wherever you wanted your decimal point to be, and that way, because it shows up all along here, that way when you're entering the numbers, you can always see clearly where your decimal point is as you're typing on the keyboard. The previous model that I showed before is supposed to have this, but it was missing from that model, but it is here. So, to do clearing, it's the same as the other one. You have this crank up here. Turning it forward clears the counter. Turning it backwards clears the accumulator. So if we're doing multiplication and division, we'll start with multiplication. There's two little knobs here. This one says non-repeat, and this one is just blank. So we want to push this one down so that it's in repeat mode, and the non-repeat pops up. And then we enter our first number on the keyboard. So say we want to multiply 256 times 256. We type 256 here. And then we are going to hold the plus key down until the counter reads 6, since we want 6 as the lowest digit in our multiplier. So right now we have 256 times 6. You can see that says 6 up there. See if I can move that. So it says 6 up here in the counter. Then we shift over on position. Now we want to have 5 up in the counter. So now we have 256 times 256 is 65536. And that's how you do multiplication on the electrically driven Monroe calculator. So you can see it is, if you watched my previous video on the hand-driven one, this is certainly much faster. So let's go to division. So for division, we're going to go all the way over. And we want to enter our first number on the keyboard. And we can set this to repeat for that. We add that in. Switch back to non-repeat. And then this little lever up here, we want to switch to division. Down here it says times, up there it says divide. I don't know if you can see that or not. After I do this, I'll explain the importance of this extra counter up here. But, so we set that to division, and then we enter our second number, and then we hold down the minus key until the machine stops. What should happen is the machine stops, the machine should stop, and a bell should ring, but the bell doesn't always ring, but the machine always stops appropriately. So we're going to hold this down until the machine stops. So the machine stopped and the bell rang, and then we add one back. The bell rings again. Oops, I think I made a mistake. I forgot to clear my counter. Let's try this again. So at this point is where I screwed up last time. I forgot to clear the counter. So we're going to clear that, and now it should be good to proceed. So again, we're going to hold this down until the machine stops. The machine stopped. Add one back. Shift over. And repeat the process. Now we reach the end, and so this is our answer up here on the counter. This is our decimal point here, so 3.1415929 is our answer. As you can see, this is definitely much faster than the old way with the hand cranked machine. So now, the purpose of the little counter up here, this is I'm not quite sure why they would need this, but the way that this works is, this is basically the same as the counter in the other machine. This has the digits from 0 to 9 in black, and then from 1 to 9 in red. And it works basically the same as I described in my previous video, which is where if you're doing addition, this turns forward and counts up through the black numbers. If you're doing subtraction, this turns backwards and counts up through the red numbers. This counter over here only has 0 to 9 in black on each wheel, and it has tens carry. So if I'm doing an operation, say I have just put a number in here, and I hold down the plus key. Oops, I forgot to change back to multiplication. We'll try that again. I forgot to set this back to multiplication. This sets the direction of the counter. So if I hold plus down, you'll notice that it carried over, so there's a 1 in this column. So this counter has tens carry. If this gets up to 9 and goes over, it carries over to this column and will carry all the way across the register. This counter on the other side does not have that. You'll notice here, it's kind of hard to see because they put some kind of magnifying glass on it. So it's very difficult to see from this particular angle. I'm not sure if I can get a better view. Yeah, it's going to be hard to see. Anyway, you can kind of tell that that's counting up through the red numbers now. So that one's counting up through the red numbers now, because that does not have tens carry. So when this gets up to 9 in the black, it goes to 9 in the red and then goes backwards. So the way that this works is, this little lever here, I can slide this over, and now when I clear the counter, you notice this side cleared, this side did not. This still says 15 up here. So I'm not quite sure what application that had, but that's why it has two counters. One of them has tens carry, and you can set it to not clear, and the other one does not have tens carry, and always clears. And if we slide this over, we can now clear that register. So again, I'm not quite sure what application that was for, but that's what it has. I would imagine like if you're doing some kind of total and you want to keep track of how much you're adding up, if you're adding massive lists of numbers or something, is the only thing I can think of. But that is about it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration, and you can show how much the advent of electrical calculators was appreciated given the massive increase in efficiency and much less time spent on doing calculations. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.